suggesting most people. That sounds so official. Is there a suggested format for these things these days, Dave, or does whatever I feel like? Oh, cool. Oh, hands.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
That's a shocker. That's a shocker. Oh, Peter!
Having a computer crisis here in Cape May, New Jersey.
Andrew, wow, look at this.
Hey Hans, how are you?
David.
Okay. Managed
Hello,
to
everybody.
brick my phone, and anyway.
All we need
Can
to
you so
get Hodgson out as a draw, huh?
Hopefully it's worth it. Okay, what time? 8:03. Most people know most people, I would assume, right? There's only one person I've not met on this call, and that's Artie. Yeah, probably worth.
I don't think most people know most people, actually.
Oh wow, that's nuts.
Isn't that brilliant? That's GRC at its best.
Always new connections to be made. So it's probably worth doing a quick round of introductions, and it's be helpful for me to understand if you can, name where you are and why. What was it? Why you showed up on this call? And I guess we'll go popcorn, or I'll point at somebody, and then the next person can go after. Oh, what was that, Dave? Nothing.
I don't know if my Wi-Fi is bad. I'm going to try to get to a better one, but can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can on and off. That's the joys of being out in the in the countryside of Vermont. Yeah, so name where you are and why you showed up on this call, and let's just keep it relatively quick. And then I can do a quick overview of what it is that I'm working on with the Nature Conservancy, this Nature Tech thing, and yeah, then we can the conversation will go in some direction or another. Russ, I'm going to point at you to go first.
All right. Hey, David. Hi, everybody. I recognize some faces, but David, I showed up on the call because you put the words nature and tech, 2 words together, and it's kind of like me now. At least for those who don't know me, I'm not just outside of Houston, Texas. I spent 30 years taking dead carbon out of the deep earth, and now,
they're called the blue tips.
Now, mission to spend the next 30 putting it all back in regenerative agriculture, where I'm an entrepreneur. So that's me.
Okay, point at somebody else.
Let's see. Let's just keep going around easy. Peter Coughlin is next.
Hi there, Peter. I'm in Palo Alto, and I am here because you mentioned nature-based solutions, which is something I'm implementing as well. And Maurizio.
Hi everyone, good to see familiar faces. Mauricio in Cusco, Peru. I work at the intersection of landscape, so governance, management, finance, and livelihood pathways, adaptation, producer web. So looking at nature as an enabler to accelerate this. I'll call Andrew.
Oh, you're muted, Andrew. Still muted.
Okay, yeah. New version of Zoom still doesn't do exactly what I expected to. Hi, Andrew Crosby. I'm in Geneva, Switzerland. I'm American. And what brought me here was partly you, and I want to hear about like systemic implications. So I actually want to hear more than nature tech. I want to hear like, so what difference does it make? I'm sure this group will help, and I'm gonna pick next on Artie.
Hello, Arti. I'm based here in Nairobi, Kenya. My background is technology, but I'm working on a project which is at the intersection of agriculture, energy, and carbon dioxide removal. And yeah, I'm very keen to understand more about what Nature Tech is. We are using tech in my project, and yeah, want to sort of exchange ideas, learn more. Thanks, and I shall pass on to Peter.
I already went, unless there's another Peter.
Sorry, Pilar.
Hi. Yeah, I'm Pilar Portela. I'm based in Canada, in British Columbia, currently in the East Coast. And we're working on a project for micro hubs using nature and tech to be able to implement globally. So we're here to listen and learn from everybody. And I'll pass it over to Irina, or Irene.
Hi, my name is Irina. I'm based in Oxford, and I work on Nature Tech, basically. So yeah, I'm just here to reconnect with this community and learn from all of you. And I joined late, so I don't know who didn't go. So please speak, someone.
I volunteer. My name is Hans. I'm in Oakland, Hans Kruger, Oakland, California. And I work for a decentralized global consulting firm helping large companies transform their strategies towards regenerative. And I'm very interested in the topic, and also because David is hosting the call. So that's, I'm passing it on to Carrie.
Hi, everyone. I'm sitting in Los Angeles on Chumash land. And among other things, I'm a fellow with the Academy for Systems Change. And so I'm interested in the connection between nature tech and systems transformation. And I'm also born out of GRC, working on something called the Global Regenerative Finance Initiative, otherwise known as REFI. So if any of you are curious about what we're doing there, or interested in regenerative finance more broadly, I would love to hear from you, and I'll put my email in the chat. And I will call on Arlene.
Well, good morning. I'm in Los Angeles, not too far from Cary. I'm here to learn more about how we're thinking, this group is thinking about this issue, and also because David is hosting, so surely it's going to be extremely interesting. And I'll turn it back over to you, David.
Let me see who's not gone yet. Jenny.
Hi, I'm Jenny. I'm based in Stroud in the UK. My background is branding and comms. I am here because David is speaking, and also I've been following Nature for Climate's narrative on Nature Tech, so interested to find out what's happening. And I will pick Tanuja.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tanuja Prasad. I am calling in from India, but I'm usually based in New York City. My background is in technology, although I spent 15 years in Wall Street, so one could say fintech. So I'm here because of the word tech in the title. And I really think that tech is and will be a large part of the solution, but not quite in the technocratic way that it seems to have taken over at the moment. And I look for a more systemic inclusion of technology where the human is decision maker and technology is the assistant, is potentially the helper. And looking forward to this discussion. Handing over to, let's see who's left. Lisa.
Hello, so I'm Lisa Friedman. I'm based in Palo Alto in California. And I work with a company that I'm one of the co-founders of about a couple of decades back. We're over 30 years old. And it's Enterprise Development Group. And we're small boutique consulting, but we really help companies look into this transformational future. And we've probably been doing different kinds of sustainability for about off and on for 30 years. It's always been part of that. But now just looking at climate solutions because it's so urgent. And so I'm more interested in, so I'm not working in nature tech per se, but I'm interested in getting those ideas and concepts to some of our clients are in agriculture and other things related to agriculture. And I'm also interested because some companies may want to partner or do some of their offsets while they're still working on just getting all the carbon out of whatever it is they're doing. They still might need to find other places to support until they've really been able to do that. So I'm interested in it for both reasons. The companies having to do with agriculture or nature in any way, some kind of bio ways of getting carbon out of the atmosphere and other greenhouse gas, but also the ones who want to know that that's possible or use it as a role model for what they can do in their own industries. And I will turn it over to Arlene. I don't think I've heard from you.
No, Arlene's been.
No, okay. It's hard to know now. There's been so many.
I haven't spoken. It's Elizabeth Pierce with SimSoil. I'm a new member of GRC. This is actually the third meeting I've attended. And I am the founder of a startup that is in the biological sciences. Our goal, I became entranced 5 years ago with soil microbiome for its ability to improve the quality of food, the drought tolerance for farmers, the opportunity to improve profitability for farmers, and secondarily came into the fact that this was the fastest way to sequester carbon. We have filed a patent and have a notice of approval for a way to mass produce a particular type of biologic product that's kind of an index fund relative to ag biologics. And I'm always pushing for that to be seen as technology because it is the use of science by humans to make the world a better place. But most of the tech investors I've run into don't really see it that way. So I'm interested to hear what everyone on this call has to say. Thank you.
David, you're muted.
Yeah, I was going to say, let me pick Natalie next. We've only got a few more people to go, I think. Natalie, Christopher, Matthew, Zen. This doesn't, yeah, I think that's, oh, and Jalen. Oh, and Harriet as well.
Am I muted or do I need to turn off mute myself?
We can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, it's 11 p.m. here, so it's a bit dark. Yeah, this is the first time I've joined one of these meetings.
But now we've lost him.
Oh, hang on. Oh my God. Cat fight. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry. There's a cat fight in the background.
Wow.
We can hear you.
Yeah, this is the first time I live in a bamboo house in the middle of Denpasar city, and of course the cats have just decided to have their nightly cat fight right outside the window.
They heard there was a Zoom meeting about nature.
Yeah, right.
We want in.
Plenty of that around here. We got cats, we got birds, we got yeah. Yeah, so how did I get into this group? It was through, so I don't know if you can hear these guys. I don't know if they're in my kitchen or outside, but anyway. I sent a message through to someone basically around like the project I'm doing here or have been sort of involved with or, concerned with, which is, since living in the Philippines, like being, looking at like how people from developing countries can be, included in technology that, simple things that that would make life so much easier in these kind of countries and environments. And one of my main concerns is is bamboo being able to be used in developing countries, because it just seems like everyone's going towards cement, tin, tile, and meanwhile, like they still have the skills and knowledge about working with bamboo, but it's just seen as something for poor people or the very rich because of the whole treatment process stuff. So my sort of thing is about, as we're about to look at like whether the traditional treatment process for bamboo can be like long-term sustainable, because usually takes too much time. But yeah, with COVID and stuff, it's like we've got plenty of time. So it seems like it. So yeah, and just looking at just the simple kind of technologies and how they can be brought into cultures, like the just even solar pumps and things that can just make moving water easier, that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm interested in the tech side, but like the previous lady, was it Sarah or Elizabeth? Said, how to make technology become more like an assistant to people rather than it all sort of being this high tech stuff and all in this weird realm. Like it's sort of got to be able to come back to the everyday. Oh my gosh. the everyday level of like what can actually help people, and especially with more than the huge majority of the population that lives on like less than $10 a day. Like if we're not doing something at that level, then it's like a friend of mine in the Philippines once said, we're just rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. So yeah, I hope that gives a bit of a background. I only just sort of tuned in. I was a little bit late, but yeah.
That's thank you.
The cat chorus in the background.
Yeah, my chickens might start going in a minute.
Can you remute yourself, Natalie?
Oh, sorry. Yep, sure.
Chris, can you let's so yeah, name where you are and what let's try and just go be relatively quick, seeing as we're 20 minutes in and you want to know what it is that I'm doing.
I'm Christopher Losa. I'm in Northern California, Pomolands, and I work on food systems and food system issues, and always looking to integrate regenerative practices, and interested in understanding some of the technology flowing in that direction.
Cool. Matthew?
Hey, yeah. And Natalie, I think you're still on.
Oh, really? I thought it
hearing the chorus.
My phone's a little bit dysfunctional. Can somebody mute me? Because I'm trying to like scroll up from the bottom.
We got it. Okay. Hey, yeah. So I'm currently in Manhattan, Lenape land, but I'm based in Boulder, based in Colorado at the moment. And what brought me here was, wow. I guess I went from undergrad engineering, manufacturing. What is waste? Where does it come from? What is climate change? What is climate tech? Oh, soils are kind of degraded, huh? That seems important. Learning about how climate change is a crisis of externalities, and learning about co-benefits, and just seeing the climate tech field evolve over the past 5 years that I've been in it. Just continuing to wanting to go deeper and more authentic and more efficient and less waste, even in what we do and what we think about and how we spend our time. And so Nature Tech is like, yeah, great, no hype. It's just nature. Yeah, I don't know. Has anybody heard of Caroline Casey? Anybody? She's had a show for like 25 years, the Visionary Activist Show, but she likes to share this saying, may only those serving an apprenticeship to nature be trusted with technology. So I'll stop there. Zen, I'm gonna pass it to Zen.
Well, good morning. At least for me, I'm in Chandler, Arizona, and thank you, David, for all the work that you've been doing. And it's just a blessing to be here. What got me here has been decades of trying to understand how our own natural design emerges into both psychospiritual and material technology, and how that bridge is taking place to build a better network, if you will, between humanity as we learn how to get along better with ourselves and with nature.
Cool. Harriet and Jalen. If you guys want to
I had a feeling you were just gonna call me right now. How are you? I'm here because I'm anxious to hear updates from David, as everybody is. I am based in Vermont, in Burlington right now, and I'm working on several different initiatives focused on systems work and accelerating systems change. One with Glenn Page, another with Kirk Bergstrom and Jyoti at North Star, and I'm also a certified partner now of Terra Institute out of the EU, and I met Lucia through GRC as well, and also working with the Global Partnership with Jim Clark. So many connections through GRC here. Thank you.
Sorry for that, Howard. Yeah, Jalen.
Hey everyone. I'm actually here because I had one of my meetings in early, and I was like, I would love to catch up and see what David's been working on, as he's always working on really cool stuff. A little bit about me: I'm based in Mountain View, California, and I get the pleasure of helping awesome projects like this get better exposure and help grow their overall community and ecosystem in this digital first space. So really nice to connect with everyone here, and yeah, excited just to learn more about what you're working on, David.
Is there anyone else who wants to go who hasn't gone yet? Five, four, three, two. Okay. Yeah, so some of you know James Lloyd, who's over at the Nature Conservancy in the UK. He heads up a thing now, heads up a thing called Nature for Climate, which is housed within the Nature Conservancy, but it's obviously it's a secretariat for a coalition of organizations that include UNDP, UNEP, WWF, IUCN, WBCSD, which is the World Business Council on Sustainable Development, and the World Economic Forum, amongst other entities. And this coalition came into being about some number of years ago now, to probably around the time of the Paris Climate Accords, to kind of advocate for nature-based solutions as part of this international development, especially around climate, is the world of jargon and acronyms in particular. Yeah, to advocate for seeing nature as part of the climate discourse at the multilateral level, at the intergovernmental kind of level. And, you know, under the Paris Climate Accords, there's this thing called nationally determined contributions, right? NDCs. And so they were trying to get people to go, oh, we can restore nature, and that can, and we can account for that at this, you know, macro global geopolitical level, right? They were pretty successful in getting nature into that, yeah, kind of starting to be seen in that way, and really growing that kind of awareness and discourse around nature-based solutions stuff. And so James and I have been chatting for a number of years now, and So he reached out to me, I guess, in about March or April, to bounce around this idea he was playing with around nature, what he was thinking of as nature tech, which, you know, he could see that all these different technologies were starting to emerge, or, you know, that many of you talked about, had been emerging for a while now, but there was no shared identity for it. So it wasn't, as to somebody's point, right, it wasn't being seen by the venture capital world. It wasn't being, you know, as a cohesive thing, as an opportunity space. And so he was like, oh, okay, what do we need to do to kind of focus attention on this field of nature tech, so that, you know, all of these different organizations that are involved one way or another can see the potential that all of these different technologies can enable, and to start to route money, especially, you know, venture capital, in this direction, or route more venture capital in this direction. So we ran a bunch of kind of strategy design sessions, bringing together about 70 people from across, you know, some VCs, some folks on the corporate supply chain side of things, a bunch of people developing nature-based solution projects, and yeah, the whole the whole language of nature-based solutions is so abstract as well. And yeah, I think part of the reason nobody has plugged, you know, that this seems to be such a niche thing is because the language around it is so terrible. But anyway, we brought, or so academic, so scientific. So we brought about 70 people together across these 6 sessions, and kind of conjured up this, yeah, out of that emerged kind of this strategy, the design for what we're calling the Nature Tech Nexus. And the mission of the Nature Tech Nexus is to kind of accelerate the field of activity here, you know, and solve the problems that people who are running startups or have been identifying, with a particular focus on kind of, yeah, enabling the development of nature-based solutions, you know, large scale, global, you know, not necessarily just global South nature, but with a, you know, strong focus on kind of global South stuff. Mainly, you know, because that's actually where a lot of from the carbon perspective, at least, that's where a lot of the potential is. So what we're planning on doing is, you know, is running a series of public events, virtual, you know, large scale virtual events that are focused around, you know, next year we're planning on running these 4 events around a concept such as, you know, what were they $10 billion, you know, imagine there was a $10 billion fund focused on Amazonian regeneration. What is it that nature, you know, let's bring together all the different nature tech startups that are relevant to that, as well as the financial actors and the corporate partners, right? To go, oh, to co-create the vision of what would be possible with some kind of initiative like that, and use that both as a way to show the VCs that, you know, and you know, and have that all framed within. There's the task force on nature-related financial disclosure folks who are, you know, trying to integrate nature into the global financial system. We're hooked into the global ethical finance initiative folks. There's all these macro initiatives that are trying to ensure that capital is getting routed in a nature positive way in the macro economy. There's all this, you know, many governments are trending in this direction to start to move money. So yeah, you know, how can all the pieces that currently exist, you know, if you can show the whole system, the potential of the whole system, the whole future system in operation, it shows that there is, you know, you can see where the gaps are, where there's new innovation that's needed. You can showcase the existing stuff that's out there and the potential of having it all integrated together. And by doing all of that, you can also show to the VCs and the corporate, you know, you can show the corporate partners what's, you know, how they can plug in to global supply chains in a way that is at least ethical from a nature-based perspective. And thus you can show the VCs that there is a real market opportunity here, right? Where, you know, I was listening to an interview that Simon Zadek did, who's the chair of one of these finance for biodiversity, and he's on the task force for nature-related financial disclosure, which is following along after the task force on climate-related financial disclosure, which has been really successful, relatively speaking, in terms of getting mandatory financial reporting relative to climate across the G20, I think it was. And I think the G20 then said that they would follow the recommendations of the task force on nature-related financial disclosure. So this interview with Simon Zadek that's up on Mongabay is fascinating. His goal with what he's doing is attempting to shift basically the entire global economy to integrate an understanding of nature into the entire global economy. So, but you know, the $300 trillion that's floating around out there comes into alignment with nature. If that is true, if that, you know, even if they achieve even a proportion, you know, some small amount of that, that's a hell of a lot of money that needs to flow into nature positive activity, and it needs nature tech in all of its forms to be ready to have that kind of capital deployed. And right now, that's, as far as I can tell, right, pretty much invisible to the venture capital community and to the venture community generally, because it's, you know, it's hidden within this domain of NGO academic speak that isn't accessible to the Silicon Valley type entrepreneurial world, right? So yeah, so, you know, we think that running these kinds of events, showcasing all of this stuff and showcasing the potential and trying to market it and brand it in a way that makes it interesting and somewhat accessible to normal human beings, yeah, can help unlock the potential of all of this stuff. And so, you know, the goal, we've got a small event, a very small event, a teaser event coming up at COP in Glasgow, again, where we'll, you know, we've got some of the high-level folks from the Nature Conservancy speaking about the possibilities and a few different kind of nature tech solutions showcasing. We're building out kind of our database of stuff right now, and we're about to kick off a fundraising. Yeah, and the goal is to integrate an entrepreneur in residence type program into this too, so that different, you know, but we know there are many gaps from a technology perspective, or we know there are many opportunities, unaddressed opportunities right now. So the goal is to, yeah, create an entrepreneur in residence program where we can just start to drop entrepreneur, you know, because we've got partnerships because of the Nature for Climate Coalition of WWF, IUCN, blah, 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 blah. We can access pretty much, you know, a global portfolio of nature-based solution initiatives that are happening around, you know, on the ground around the world, and start to drop entrepreneurs, aligned entrepreneurs on top of those things, right? To identify where there are opportunities for new nature tech opportunities to spin up. Yeah. Sorry, it's a bit disjointed. I haven't had enough coffee yet this morning.
So David, how can this group help you?
that is a well, Daniel's my core conspirator. Daniel Swid has just joined the call too. Yeah, so we're you know, the most, so you know, we're starting to map out all the different, build a database out of all the different startups we can identify. You know, we're looking for yeah, I mean, folks who are running nature-based solutions, and it seems that Mr. Von Hertzen has just shown up too, or showed up recently. Hey, Brian. And we will be, yeah, you know, anyone who, you know, obviously, you know, it sounds like Lisa obviously has, you know, people with corporate relationships, people with funding relationships. You know, I'm what I need to do right now, or what we need, is to kind of map out the ecosystem around us that we have easy access to. So when we start to, you know, so that we can design and convene the most interesting events we possibly can, with the best reach, you know, accessing all the most interesting people we can possibly lay our hands on, right? Because the goal is to just conjure up this vision of what is, conjure up the vision of what really can be. Yeah, so just, you know, hearing everybody speak earlier, you know, I've got a good sense of, reasonable sense of where people could plug into the ecosystem. Oh, and yeah, there is kind of also at the core of this, you know, around the nature-based solutions stuff, there is an implicit / explicit understanding of yeah, kind of indigenous self-determination. Yeah, and so, I mean, this integration on the one side, right, of macro finance technology down to kind of, yeah, indigenous sovereignty on the other side, yeah, is kind of part of the, is also part of some part of, is some kind of, is part of the narrative here. I don't know. That's
David, in the work you've done, in the work you've done so far, have you gotten it far enough that you started to develop some kind of taxonomy or different categories of what you would consider to be included in nature tech that might help us think and map things?
It's there's a bit of a taxonomy, not you know, I think the best frame I've seen yet is around, or the frame that seems to be resonating the most, is around this concept of the nature positive economy. And if you then define nature tech as things, as technologies that, you know, lead to a nature positive economy, you end up with you do end up, as you're pointing out, Russ, with a pretty broad, yeah, you know, a pretty broad funnel. But, you know, if I take, this is why I want to, you know, the convenings around places, because then it's like, okay, let's say we're looking at farmland in the Midwest, and go, okay, what's all the nature tech that's relevant to farming in the, or, you know, a nature positive economy existing within the Midwest, right? You'd end up with some forest stuff, some water related stuff, you know, watershed management things, you know, stuff, you know, along the lines of what you've been doing, Russ, and other, you know, all the kind of ag tech piece, as well as supply chain traceability, blah, 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 right? And then, you know, yeah, you know, hooking that into different financing mechanisms. I kind of see the tech, you know, the distance between financial innovation and fintech within my brain is relatively, you know, lots of financial innovation I would count as technology at some level too, right? Even if there's no technology platform attached to it. But most of these things at scale, right, we know they need some kind of technology element. So, you know, yeah.
For what it's worth, it just strikes me as one of those things, and maybe it's my own mind, have a language by which you can talk about things, to have some sort of categorization that can transcend different places. There'll be all kinds of tech for counting things and measuring them. There'll be tech for like causing new things to happen. There'll be tech for exchanging market value. You know, somehow categorize some things. It might be a useful step if that hasn't been done yet, or if there's someone out there that's already developed such a framework that you can plug into. It's great. I mean, I love the category of nature tech, but I think we need to, maybe one of those things where defining it could help move it forward. Defining it through categories. I'll put it that way. Totally different, but
I think yes, I don't want to, I guess I don't want to preemptively the way I'm planning on doing that, or the way we're planning on doing that, is to, you know, identify as many different things as possible, and then, you know, start to cluster and see really, you know, there's different ways you can apply a taxonomy, you know, there's different taxonomies that can get applied, right?
Yeah, no, as long as you can develop enough things to help start seeing the clusters, and then have some way of thinking for things that you're not seeing because no one asked the question yet. But
so, David, at the risk of being perhaps even confrontational, and I apologize in advance for that. When we talk about gaps or gap analysis, or even when we talk about their opportunity gaps, we're still thinking reductionistically, because when we work towards filling a gap, we're assuming that the system is static, and we're simply filling the gaps, like filling the potholes in a road, right? That's what we're doing. But that's, you know, that the system is moving all the time. That's what nature is, that system is. So we need to think in terms of functional analysis, not gap analysis. And we need a true paradigm shift in order to do that. The current project management techniques, the current even stochastic techniques, the statistics as it stands today cannot handle complex adaptive systems. There's only one person in the whole world that is doing statistics for nonlinear systems today, and that's Nassim Taleb of Black Swan fame. And so what I want to say here is we need a true paradigm fundamental shift to design where we're going. And, you know, things like nature or biomimicry, you know, copying nature as such, is a good starting point. It's a way to do a mind shift. I agree with that, but it's not the full picture. It's not the full picture. And so we need to be careful about that. So what I want to say here is that we need to be willing to get rid of most of the ways of thinking about projects that we have done before. Yep, and that includes finance. So if I had to say from just my brief thinking on the topic, to design a sustainable solution that leaves room for all players to have a fulfilled and self-determined life, we need to be able to think in terms of frameworks that provide a minimal structure for the players to assert themselves. And nature does that through setting contexts, through collaborative context setting.
I agree with what Tanuja just said. Did I pronounce your name right?
The J's pronounced, but it's okay.
I'm here. Okay. So I agree with what you said about the direction of going, how we're identifying things. And we tend as humans to think our way through a system built on vibration, right? And so in that realm, and this may be a little far-fetched on the fringe, but in that realm, there's a natural emergence of what is and the direction in which it needs to go once we set the intention of going there. So our attention, intention, and interactions are focused on seeking flow, the right questions, like you were saying, Russ, that the right questions may have not come up yet. So what are the questions necessary to discover, uncover the aspects of natural flow toward the end goal? And I use that kind of process in partnering workshops I do for building road and bridge construction. It kind of shifts their paradigms almost instantly because I'm dealing with a bunch of left-brain thinkers, and the essence of the project has its own flow, right? So tuning into that is much better than trying to push or pull energy around, which creates distractions, right? When what you're looking for, David, is something that's emerging that creates that natural flow in the nature tech, right? So if you're going to discover what really is the nature of things, that it's best to ask the questions about that help that emerge, and then that kind of fills in the gaps, so to speak, of the potholes and how to, rather than what to do.
Yeah, very much support use of the word flow, Zen. And I'd like to add that nature is inherently regenerative, meaning
absolutely
there are forward feedback, there are feedback loops in every direction, forward, backward, sideways, whatever. So one would think that all these feedback loops would balance themselves out, so the system might stay static, but that is not the case. The system is moving in the direction of regeneration. And every entity, even every atom in the universe is making a cognitive choice at every instance towards regeneration. So if all we did was build structures that allowed flow to flow, we would have regeneration. But the way we have been taught for generations is to think in terms of static structures, which block flow.
Oh, there's a good comment in the chat, or a good comment, a little bit of a conversation around immersing people in, or immersing finance people, particularly in nature, giving them, or providing kind of nature immersion experiences slash kind of immersion in kind of with indigenous communities. That kind of learning journey aspect of these things to get people to, particularly on the financial side, to engage with nature in a different, from a more spiritual place. It is, I think, is something that is on in the conversation that we're having.
So I would suggest, David, because spiritual, even though that's kind of how we feel about this because we're immersed in it, it's a trigger. That word is a trigger to the left brainers, the finance people, right? So they're steeped in this avoidance of that. So to take that word and craft it in a different way, maybe even put it in the terms of science, like talking about quantum entanglement or something like that's got a little more teeth to it rather than the nebulousness of spirituality, even though we understand it as being interconnected and how everything is connected, the terminology and the references may be better for that bridge to speak to them in a language that's more familiar.
I think you can also speak to them in their own familiar language. I don't think it needs to be left brain or right brain. We need all brains on deck, right? Wherever people's expertise is. So I don't know that I need to change them. I would just like to see them finding out from their own expertise and their history and their personality and who they are, which part of the solution they can bring to bear. So I'm in California where I can't go outside because of the smoke from fires hundreds of miles up north. I'm working with a colleague who's in New Orleans who just got hit by the hurricane. We have family members in New York City where New York City couldn't use the subways. So things are happening. We're in what we knew was coming. So we need solutions as fast as possible. So we need all kinds of solutions, tech solutions, but if there's nature solutions, let's do that. And so from a financial perspective, there's trillions of dollars out there being offered for solutions. So how do you connect that money? So Bill Gates, so Microsoft has $1 billion venture fund. Elon Musk has his, I don't remember how many millions for the X Prize for climate. Bill Gates, separate with a lot of other world leaders, has got breakthrough energy ventures where they have $1.5 billion that they're putting out there for solutions, and they already have lots of startups they're showing. So stuff is happening and money is moving to these solutions. And so David, what I really liked about your idea about making the ecosystem visible is to help people see who are the people interested in finding solutions, who are people who want to fund it, who are people who have nature solutions. And that may be the part that's like, they've been looking more at engineering solutions. So nature may be what's less visible. So I love the idea of helping those people see where the resources are. And some of those people don't have to be converted to a new frame of mind or a new way of life. It's just help us get this solved quite quickly. And I think it's built in. The people who come to that already have a view about the role of nature. So you'll get that segment of the finance people, and then they'll lead the others.
David, I raised my hand, but I'm not sure who's moderating, so I'm guessing that I'll do what I'll just sort of hi. Good time to pipe in. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I just want to say I'm really happy to see you. And just like everyone else here, I'm one of those who came in because you were on the call today, and it's just so heartening to see or to hear. It was so interesting to hear somebody here said, so what do you want from this group? I guess because like they say, the wheel comes full circle, because the genesis of this group is David, right? So yeah, it's lovely to see that. I just want to pipe in here. I heard a lot of voices, and I'm just trying to perhaps, David, be an extension of what you're trying to say, in a sense, in a very simple language, because what we've always found fascinating is we all speak different languages, obviously based on our own prism. And I see David as this, let's just say, this person who's had, or this energy, who's had that journey, that immersion. I mean, if there's anyone in the planet currently, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this, who's literally been like that forerunner of, including coining the term regeneration. And I know this because we did this together. It is David, right? So right from farm to fork concept to everything that this energy called David Hodgson has journeyed over the decade, in this space. So I see David and what he's doing and the folks involved and the folks that are picked here, or rather who are coalescing as people. Like the lady here just said, they're normal human beings too. So we've had our own journeys. We don't need to introduce, you and I are expressions of nature. It's time we talk about it. I agree. We don't need to use spiritual. We don't need to be uncomfortable using the word spiritual, but we don't even need to use that concept. That finance guy in New York is seeing that he's hit by something. So, he'd be daft if you want to introduce something to him. So my point is, I see this as this somebody who can consolidate this green fund on one hand, and at the same time has the discerning ability to know where the activity is, who the actors are, where the money is flowing, because we've always said whole systems thinking. You need a consolidation of green money. You need to make sure the flow, because it's all about rewiring your economy. It's all about a new world in a sense. Someone said flow. I absolutely agree. So there's technology on one hand, there's finance on the other end, but don't make it yet another nature tech, regen tech about, hey, here's the money, where's the solution? Because like you said, David, it's not just a tech innovation thing. And we use the word regeneration very, very loosely, but here's another thought for all of us to ponder.
Wait, sorry, Debbie, I have to break
last
in.
Sentence. Yeah, last sentence. I'm saying
I've got to jump onto another call with the World Economic Forum, so I have to leave.
I'm glad I did finally come to the end.
Showing up. And yeah, do reach out.
You're going to do this again, David. You're going to do another call.
Lisa, I know I definitely want to talk to you, so let's get something on the calendar.
Sure.